Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.
My friends and I always tune into the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Todd is entertaining, informative, and always delivers the goods.
Todd might not tell you what you want to hear, but he's going to tell you what you need to hear. And all you got to do is listen.
Hold on, Todd. Don't let go. It's time for the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
Welcome to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Good morning, good evening, and good night. I'm yours truly, attorney Todd L. Levitt, broadcasting and podcasting in the middle of the mitten in the Black Diamond Group mothership in a harvested field of beautiful flower with my good friend, America's favorite nug. You love him, you smoke him. He's Craig Russell, the muscle, the hustle, the strain of the millennia. The water's wet, the sky is blue, and Craig Russell, you know what comes next. We'd love to smoke you. Wait, I'm not done yet.
No, you're not. Okay.
No, I'm done. How you doing, Craig? What's going on out there?
I am fan-flippin-tastic. How are you, Todd?
I'm doing well. I am doing well. Just woke up and was full of adrenaline. Thought we could play some Faster Pussycat. Just destroyed it with Faster Pussycat.
Now, they're talking about a whip in that song. What kind of a whip are they talking about?
Where there's a whip, there's a way.
That's what I'm wondering.
Are they talking about whipped cream?
No, I don't think that.
Or what kind of whip do you think they're talking about?
I think they're talking about Cool Whip. You remember that from Family Guy? Cool Whip? Did you know that from Family Guy? Did you ever watch Family Guy?
I love Family Guy.
Okay. Where Stewie and Brian, and Stewie keeps calling it Cool Whip, and Brian goes, why do you keep putting the emphasis on the W? There's a hair in that pie.
You've got more references than I can even come up with.
Than a library. How about that? More references.
Very referenced human being, I should say. And by the way, that song by Faster Pussycat goes out to one of my dearest friends, Big Dave Colhane and Eva. So big shout out to my brother, Big Dave Colhane, and Eva. Ran into them last week. I've known Dave my entire existence, and he's just a dear friend of mine. Great family, great people. Little Dave, Big Dave, great family. So that's Faster Pussycat. I told them I would send it out to them. I didn't
Faster
think that.
Pussycat. Wow.
Well, no, not necessarily that song.
Oh, okay.
My noggin woke up today full of adrenaline for whatever reason, and I just think Faster Pussycat is underrated.
Well, I know why you woke up with all this adrenaline. You're psyched up for the big game today, the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
The Pro Bowl.
Do I look excited to you? Look at me. Do I look excited?
Now, you know what? In the past, the Pro Bowl is usually played the week between the last game of the season and the last playoff games and the Super Bowl. And so, in theory, all the guys in the Pro Bowl aren't in the Super Bowl, and so you think they'd all would show up and play in the game. Well, it's an all-star game. Nobody wants to get hurt. Most of the time, used to be played in Hawaii, which was, that was a nice family vacation. You can go to Hawaii, play a football game, and go to Hawaii. Then they moved it to like Orlando, Florida, which is, by Disney World and stuff. Well, you know where the Pro Bowl is this year?
Where, Craig?
Vegas, baby. So I have a feeling some of the players, this might actually be a game because most of the players might actually show up to be in Vegas.
It's not going to be a game because, look, if you're a professional football player or any professional athlete, why would you want to risk a multi-million-dollar contract or career in an all-star game? So, yeah, they're going to, it'll be fun. There'll be some great plays and whatnot, but it's like the basketball all-star game. Lots of dunks, a lot of passes. A lot of fun for the audience. It's entertainment, baby.
Yeah.
It's entertainment.
You know what? This year, the All-Star Games, 2 of the 3 All-Star Games in the major sports are in Las Vegas. The NHL All-Star Game was this past weekend in Las Vegas, and the Pro Bowl is in Vegas. You know where the NBA All-Star Game is this weekend?
Vegas.
No, it's not in Vegas. Think about someplace you'd want to be in the middle of February in early winter in the United States. What could
Alaska.
Be next to Alaska, the lower 48? What would be one of the worst places to be?
Washington.
Keep going.
Oregon.
No. Farther east.
Utah.
Think about the armpit of America.
Come on, Craig. We're a law show.
Cleveland.
From ESPN. Come
Cleveland.
On, Craig.
The NBA
All-Star woke up this morning wanting to learn about the law. They don't care about all that.
NBA All-Star Game is in Cleveland this year. That's right. Your All-Stars are going to Cleveland.
All right. There goes the show of all shows. Thank you for tuning in all these years.
All right. Well,
we are off the air. That's for sure.
It's been nice knowing you. All you Amish, now you got something to do again on Sunday morning.
Hey, by the way,
yes.
Trey Ayers, attorney at law, was supposed to be on the show this week. Great guy, great lawyer from central northern Michigan. Trey is just such a good friend of mine. And, he was supposed to be on the show today. He will be on next week, folks. So there's a lot of good men and women up there in the Roscommon County Circuit and District Court that listen to the show. They were looking forward to hearing Trey on the show today talk about aliens. Trey is all about aliens and UFOs, which I believe there's life out there. I'm not a disbeliever that something out there may or may not exist. I mean, who am I to say it doesn't exist? I mean, I think the Mandalorian's out there and is going to land on planet Earth with Baby Yoda eventually. But and yes, Baby Yoda is not Little John, by the way. That's Granddaddy Coco. Right,
Little John.
But the
Little John. We ever getting Little John on the show? When is Little John
supposed to be on today? And I dropped the ball on Little John. I'm sorry, Little John. But Trey's coming on the show next week. He's a former prosecutor of 9.5 years. Great defense attorney in Roscommon and all the counties to the north and south. And this week's strain goes out to Trey, since he will be on the show next week, folks. Alien OG.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
what is Alien OG all about?
It's whatever you want it to be, Craig. No, it's a combination of Alien Kush and Tahoe OG, about 17% THC. But Trey's going to come on the show and talk all about law, but definitely about UFOs. He's got an update for us on some UFOs. And I said, hey, since you're so familiar with aliens, do they smoke? Are they pro cannabis, Trey? So he'll update us.
How would you know?
That.
How would you know unless you've ever met one?
And John Marco, our good buddy, he is definitely coming on the show. John recently, and I mean recently, folks, had a huge decision before the Michigan Supreme Court that will reverberate across the country and all other 49 states. Big decision here, Craig, regarding governmental immunity and government-owned vehicles and liability for negligent operations. So kudos to John Marco. So we're going to be talking about that case in this show today of all shows.
We will, but first, before we do anything else, so we open the show with Faster Pussycat. Now, I know you, and I know it's a good rockin' song, and I know you wanted to open the show with that, but is there something else you really wanted to open the show with today?
Yeah, I wanted to listen to some JJ, some Joan Jett. So should we go to break? Should we destroy it with some Joan Jett? Sending that one out to all the listeners out there who tune in and wake up every Sunday morning and listen on the podcast all over planet Earth.
Sounds like a plan. Bad reputation. Take us out.
Destroy it, Craig. Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show, destroying it, Craig Russell, with Faster Pussycat. Where there is a whip, there is a way. And I never knew that tune existed till last week.
Really? That
Did
seems,
you?
No, but I'm not a self-proclaimed hair metal band aficionado like you are.
I just like hardcore speed metal, something that at 56, almost 57 years of age, just keeps my adrenaline going. That's what I'm all about. Is all about adrenaline. So
you know who we got to get you? You got to meet Dave Mustaine from Megadeth. That's who you got to meet, don't you?
Love Megadeth.
Yeah, I know
Love
you do.
Megadeth.
I know you do. We got to figure out a way to get you to meet him. That would be something. I'm going to tell you.
Craig, guess what?
What, Todd?
The great state of Michigan loses a key immunity decision in a snowmobile crash.
Okay.
Did you hear what I just said?
I did.
Michigan loses, the state of Michigan, which we love Michigan.
Sure. It's where we are.
It's where we're sitting right now in the middle of the Midtown, a key decision in a snowmobile crash. And this has to do with governmental immunity and the ability to sue when an individual or individuals are injured by an employee from the state of Michigan. So,
okay.
John Marco. This is a John Marco case.
Okay.
John Marco represents these amazing individuals who were injured. And the facts of the case are that a snowmobile driven by state employees is considered a motor vehicle under Michigan law. The state Supreme Court just ruled this key decision that could now make, which is you and I, taxpayers liable in a crash that injured two people. So the issue was whether or not the DNR, the Department of Natural Resources, could claim governmental immunity and avoid legal responsibility, folks, for an incident that occurred in Antrim County. There was a young individual who was thrown into a river while her father was pinned under a snowmobile back in 2018. And they were forced to swerve when two DNR officers on snowmobiles were on the same road, but in the wrong direction. And so the question is, can you now sue the state of Michigan as a result of those two DNR officers who were on the same road but in the wrong direction. And the Supreme Court ruled that a snowmobile driven by state employees is a motor vehicle under Michigan law, Craig. That's a big decision because so the law is basically 691.1405, government-owned vehicles and liability for negligent operation, and it basically states that governmental agencies shall be liable for bodily injury and property damage resulting from the negligent operation by any officer, agent, or employee of the governmental agency of a motor vehicle of which the government agency is owner. Okay, did you follow that?
I did. It's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo, but
so
I
here,
think
I'll
I
just
got
kind of
it.
sum it up again. So
All right.
a governmental agency
The
shall be
DNR.
liable, the DNR, for bodily injury and property damage resulting from the negligent operation by any officer, agent, or employee of that governmental agency of a motor vehicle of which the government agency is the owner. Now, the issue was the DNR officers. And look, I have a lot of friends that are DNR officers. They do a great job out there.
Sure.
And we love law enforcement. I just hung out with a bunch of my good buddies at the Sheriff's Department at Tim Swanson's. We talked about this last week, his retirement party a week ago.
Yep.
So big shout out to all my buddies, Todd and Joe and John and everybody that we sat at the table with during Swanee's retirement party. It was great to see everybody out there. But so basically, you know, the issue is, is a snowmobile driven by a state employee considered a motor vehicle? That's the question that was before the court. Is a snowmobile considered a motor vehicle, albeit it wasn't driven on a public roadway? It may have been on an off-road vehicle, an ORV trail.
Well,
And
so
the
now,
Supreme Court said yes.
if you were driving the snowmobile and you happened to, because you were driving on the wrong way on the trail and knocked a little girl off into the river and pinned her father under their snowmobile, if you were driving it, layperson Todd, would it be considered a motor vehicle? And is it not? Is it considered a motor vehicle?
It's a motor vehicle.
Same
Yes,
thing.
Because the issue is governmental immunity. I mean, you hear it over and over and over. You know, you cannot sue most and certain governmental agencies and individuals who are in their capacity because of governmental immunity. And governmental immunity exists, folks, because you want certain members of the government, police agencies, other departments, to be able to do their job in such a way that they're able to do so without avoiding liability. You see, if everybody could turn around and sue every police officer, every deputy sheriff, and other governmental agencies and individuals, then you wouldn't have anyone working at these jobs in their capacity.
Yeah.
And the argument is, well, depending upon which side of the argument you take, I'm just stating the facts, that they can't do their jobs if they're always facing lawsuits. I mean, if you were an individual working, anybody out there on a daily basis, and you faced, a lawsuit pending, or you faced litigation, or you didn't have immunity,
just from doing your job.
I wouldn't do that job. I would not
exactly.
want to work.
So why do you think that they couldn't claim government immunity in this situation? Do you know?
Because the Supreme Court ruled that a motor vehicle, that the snowmobile is considered a motor vehicle under Michigan law. And, that a lawsuit can and will proceed now. Again, the statute is very clear. I mean, a government agency will be liable for bodily injury. Did you hear what I said? So the question is, how do you define bodily injury? Is it a scratch? Is it a broken bone? Is it someone who needs surgery, that the injury results in surgery? Is it permanent, damage to a bodily function and property damage? But again, the government agency that is liable, I'm not a civil attorney. That's why John Marco needs to come on and talk about this. Negligent operation, that standard must be proven for liability to stick. Just because an individual is injured by a governmental employee or an agency that employee is working under, so the agency is sued, the question is, what is the bodily injury? What's the property damage? And was the individual who's responsible, is he or she negligent? And is it 51% negligent? Is it 50, 49? Where does it balance? Again, this is civil law. I'm a criminal defense lawyer, but John Marco, is one of my closest friends, folks. He's one of the best attorneys in the state of Michigan. John, Marko, Marko Law. He'll be on the show. He argued before the Supreme Court. He won the decision, and now a lawsuit will probably more than likely move forward against the state of Michigan, the DNR.
So what they're saying is they can go ahead with a lawsuit. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to lose, but they can go ahead with a lawsuut.
Yeah, this does not,
This
put
is not
negligence
right
on the DNR officers at all. Again, that has to be proven.
Right. This just means they can go ahead with the lawsuit. So,
but I am very familiar with this case, and I can tell you that the father and his child, they were pretty beat up and injured there. So
see, now this opens up.
But again, I don't know if I can't put negligence on the state at this point because I don't know anything about the case beyond what I'm reading.
This opens up some interesting legal questions that I would have. Like one of them would be, here's a different situation. Let's say you are in a bank and the bank is being robbed. Okay. And as the bank robber is leaving the bank with a gun, the police bust in and they attempt to shoot the robber, and instead they shoot you. Is that a similar kind of thing? Could you sue then the police for negligence for your bodily harm because they were doing their job?
This is a question for the jury to decide.
Okay.
Again, this is a question for the jury to decide, not the judge, but juries have to take a look at the facts of the case.
Right.
And judges determine judges. I'm having trouble talking today, but I was today? Out. There was a great fat bike race yesterday. At Canadian Lakes that I was part of, and at the St. Ives Golf Course. Brutal course put together by my buddy Chad Mills. My buddy Malloy was out there, and so yeah, my throat is a little torn up from breathing in. 10 degrees, beautiful Michigan weather there. But it was a beautiful course, a great race, hundreds of people out there. And I won because I finished. So
there you go. Well, that's good.
Absolutely. Yep.
But yeah, I
deviate.
That is an interesting. That's an interesting case, though. It really is. The fact that usually the government can go ahead and can claim immunity in those kind of situations, but in this situation, so obviously maybe were any of the facts of this case presented as part of the reason why the judge made that decision?
I believe, again, I don't know what was argued beyond that. The question was, is a snowmobile considered a motor vehicle based on the facts of this case as it was being operated by a state employee?
Right.
On behalf of a governmental agency. And the answer is yes. And here's the other thing. I could have told you that a snowmobile is considered a motor vehicle because every year I represent at least a dozen or more men and women who are charged with operating while intoxicated on a snowmobile, okay, whether they're on a public roadway or on an ORV trail. So I could have, you could have
predicted this, that this was how it was
predicted this.
Easily.
But again, the question is negligence.
Well, somebody, who would know more about this than you and I?
John Marko.
That's right. And when he's on the show, we'll have to ask him.
John's coming on the show. Marko Law. We love John Marko. We do a lot of work with John here at the law firm. But Craig, I know we have to go to break here shortly.
We do.
But again, this is an issue depending upon where you fall. The question is, if you are an employee out there and your job is to protect the general public, what level of immunity do you possess to avoid litigation so that you can then do your job properly? That's the big issue.
Look, I'm no lawyer and I'm no judge, but I can take a guess. But we have to take a break first.
But on the other hand, before we go to break, can I just say this?
Sure.
Any individual in any capacity, in any job, I feel as an attorney and as a citizen, if that individual, and I don't care who it is negligent, then they should be liable. Because if somebody gets severely injured, bodily injury, permanently damaged bodily function, property, why should that individual who caused that damage and that negligence, why should that individual or the agency who employs that individual, be free from liability?
I don't know about that.
I'm just saying.
I don't know about
why
that.
not? Why
Well,
not?
Why don't we take a break and I'll tell you when
I
we
mean,
come
we
back.
all are held to a standard of care in any job.
Well, I
depending
think
upon what it is.
I think I have an
Some of us more than others. I mean, as a lawyer, I'm held to an extremely high standard of care.
Yeah.
And if I'm negligent, then I'm liable, and somebody could sue me. Same with you, Craig, on the radio.
No, not at all.
Oh, absolutely. You have more liability. Your job carries more liability.
All I got to do is push buttons and play music, man. Let's take a break on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Faster Pussycat from San Diego, California. Where there's a whip, there's a way. If I've never heard truer words spoken, I'm a dead man.
That goes out to Big Dave Colhane and Eva. Great people, their family. I love the Colhanes. Little Dave, everybody out there. I've known them my entire life, and I ran into Big Dave last week. He gave me a big bear hug. He's a strong guy. But that goes. I said, listen, I will definitely play some tunage for you this week and give you a big shout out. I wasn't sure what exactly I was going to play, but there you go.
He's got to be a big guy. You're a pretty big guy yourself, Todd. So,
I mean, I was a defensive end and linebacker back in the day, but I did some
Berkeley High Class 83. Berkeley High Class 83.
Yeah, I did some damage as a defensive end. I would grab people by the collar and
Till you got hurt.
I would grab them if the refs weren't watching, especially in high school. They weren't watching back then. You could just grab the helmet and just drag somebody down.
But now, man, there's video everywhere.
I'm not recommending anybody do that if your young folks are playing football. But back in Berkeley High, we were playing so Berkeley Bears, we played Royal Oak Kimball, Royal Oak Dondero, Ferndale, Hazel Park, Troy, Triathens, and then we played Bloomfield, Andover, Groves, Southfield High, Lathrop. But when we played those schools, where there was money like Birmingham, Bloomfield Hills, we could not wait to get on the field against those guys. I mean, we came from Berkeley. I mean, we were a rustic community. Berkeley's a great town right now. I mean,
yeah, but it's not West Bloomfield or Bloomfield Hills or those rich
but
places.
it has become.
It wasn't back then. It wasn't back then.
Moved into Royal Oak. Back then, it was just a nice community, but by no means was the average income $1 million like Bloomfield Hills or Birmingham. So when we had an opportunity to play those teams, we just tried to destroy them. We played dirty. I'm just going to say we played dirty. We were telling you, playing football.
But I'm telling you now, there's 15 cameras at every football field. Doesn't matter what high school you go to now. You can't get away with that kind of stuff anymore.
And we were all peed off. Yeah, that's true, Craig. We were all peed off because all our best players got recruited by Brother Rice, Catholic Central.
You can't get away with anything anymore. There's cameras everywhere.
But did you hear what I said, though?
I did. No, I heard.
I mean, look, so those are great schools. I mean, Brother Rice, great high school. CC, Detroit, now it's a Novi, great high school. Royal Oak Shrine, again, not a fantastic place to get an education, amazing. But our best football players got recruited out of Berkeley High, so we had to do what we had to do.
Exactly. Hey, guess what? I actually have a complaint this week. Would you like to hear my complaint?
Craig.
Would you like to hear my complaint?
Is it over governmental immunity?
It is not over governmental immunity. It's how I was treated getting takeout food. How about that?
Let's hear it.
All right.
Faster Pussycat, where there's a whip, there's a way. If we play that on the show, Craig Russell can have a complaint.
All right. Well, there we go. So earlier this week, I decided to go to I'm not going to mention the name of the restaurant, but it's a chain of restaurants. It's pretty well known in this area. Maybe not on the West Coast or the East Coast, but in the Midwest it is. How about that? And I decided to go there to grab some lunch. So I ordered online. I ordered my food online and paid for it online. And then I went to go get the food and take out. So I go in, and lady behind the counter says, can I help you? And I said, I have a takeout order. And she goes, did you pay for it? I go, yes, online. And she hands me the bag of food, and she says, now this is, mind you, I've just walked in. I've paid for it already. I'm picking it up. It's not delivery, not DoorDash, none of that stuff. I'm
with you. I got
in my car and picked it up. She said to me, would you like to give a tip to the girls in the back? And I said, I've already paid. I'm sorry, I don't have any cash. And she kind of disappointingly looks away from me and says, of course, and walked away. And I'm like, what? Shaming me because I didn't have money for a tip for the girls in the back for a meal I haven't eaten yet that I went and picked up. It's not like it got delivered to me or anything. I'm like walking out going, I'm never coming back here again. Wait till I at least walk out before you get all disgusted and say, of course. But it was like, of course. Like she looked at me like I'm supposed to have, $3 in bills on me. And I was like, don't shame me because I didn't have a chance to tip the girls in the back who
First off, how do you know first? And I was a waiter for at least 10 plus years.
Yeah.
And first, who are the young ladies or women in the back that you're supposed to be tipping?
I'm assuming they're the ones
who role in preparing your food. I mean, the cooks. Here's how it works. Maybe someone did some expediting. I mean, it depends on what you order. Was it a salad, dessert?
It was a sandwich, an order of fries, and some coleslaw.
Okay, so the coleslaw, probably the host or hostess, or maybe a waiter or waitress who is that evening or morning or afternoon is in charge of, some of the desserts and coleslaw and salads.
Packaging that up ahead of time.
The cook, the line chef, the cook, whomever will cook the meal.
Yep.
Put it on the window, ring a bell or electronic, depending upon whatever technology they are using. And then someone will bring it up to the front, put it in a bag, and wait for you to show up.
Yeah.
So there were maybe 2 or 3 people involved there. And, so I try to – when I get a carry-out, I always tip. But who carries cash anymore?
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. And on top of it –
that's what I'm saying. Who carries cash anymore?
Well, and it's like, I'm sorry I didn't tip. Now, those people are getting paid. It's not like they're doing their job for free. And on top of it, I haven't even had the food yet. It's like, what if I got to the food and it was terrible? I gave you a tip for making terrible food. I mean, usually when you tip at a restaurant, when you sit there because the food is good or the service was good, and you tip because of that. That's what, what tip is. Tip is an acronym for to ensure prompt service. Now, I understand in this day and age.
Craig, I never knew that.
Did you never know that?
No, literally, I never knew that.
That's what TIP stands for, to ensure.
You didn't know what Alien
service.
OG strain was, though.
No, I did not. You learn something new every day.
Every day, Craig.
Every day. But it's just like, even if you're going to be upset at me that I didn't tip, first place, I'm spending $14 at your restaurant that it's a place I usually never go to. I'll be honest, I've been there one time in the last year and a half. So it's not like I'm a regular customer. So now you just lost me as a customer. I'm not going back there again. If I want to go find a club sandwich somewhere, I'm going to go anywhere else but there now. Now, I'm hoping the lady behind the counter was maybe just having a bad day. Maybe she was, maybe somebody gave her a hard time or something, or maybe they had a rough lunch crowd or whatever. I hope there's a reason for it. But it was just like, if you're gonna shame me, at least wait till I walk out the door and do it. Don't do it right to my face. That was just rude.
I am with you on your complaint, and I have something positive to say to offset that.
I hope so.
I just want to give a lot of credit and big shout out and love to all of the men and women who work tirelessly 24 hours a day for the road commissions and the county road departments, plowing and salting and scraping and cleaning the roadways. And if you're a driver out there, you darn well better show some respect. Slow down.
Yep.
You know, why is it? And I think we can all. So big shout out before I get to my complaint, which is a standard complaint of most people listening to the show, Craig, and especially you and I. But those men and women work 24 hours a day. They work so hard.
They do.
You know, just cleaning up the roads for us. Because we had
Yep.
some storms across this country.
Yep.
I mean, big time last week.
Yep. We didn't get a whole lot of it here, but I know south of here they got quite a bit of snow, especially in Michigan and in Indiana and Ohio and places like that. And those crews are working overtime, especially in some places in Indiana and Ohio, they don't see that much snow, and they got a lot of it. So,
So-
those people they do just a fantastic job.
I did my first shredding on my snowboard last week at Snowsnake, located right here in Clear County. We're just north of Clear.
North, by Ross County.
Snowsnake, right off Mansiding Road. Great place, great facilities, great owners. Just a fantastic place to get out, do a little skiing, sledding. They have fat biking and tubing. But, you know, why is it, and I think you will agree with me on this, Craig, why is it when the weather gets bad, the drivers get worse? That the worst in drivers come out. You would think that people would slow down in bad weather, but some people speed up and drive crazy when the weather gets bad. And it's the worst. And it's the vehicles that, look, any vehicle, doesn't matter the tires, the size, will spin out on ice. Just because I have a truck, you're a truck guy, I'm a big truck guy. I think you're like a little Pinto guy, but I'm a big truck guy.
I'm a Jeep. I got a Jeep. So I
switch my tires and treads out depending upon the time of the year. I have 3 different set of tires that I take over to Mount Pleasant Tire here. They take good care of me right here in Mount Pleasant. But great guys were at Mount Pleasant Tire, by the way. Big shout out to Mount Pleasant Tire. But why is it that people seem to, you know, go crazy when the weather gets bad, Craig?
It's because they drive these big SUVs and they think they're invincible.
No, it's not
these big
SUVs.
trucks.
It's
Big
usually
trucks.
minivans or smaller vehicles.
I don't know. They think they're, you know, and all I wanted, that's
it's
the
not
thing.
The trucks. It's a car that passes you, and you're. I'm in my truck in 4-wheel drive going
50,
really,
and they're
Really?
zipping by going 70, and I'm like, man,
I mean, I'm
hope you
hoping and praying as that car flies past me in the blizzard and whiteout that I don't come upon that vehicle up the way and they're flipped over and somebody's hurt or even worse.
No, I know. I don't understand it either. You would think, well, you know, there's also people who live here in Michigan and these kind of, you know, if you live in a northern state, you have to drive in a lot of snow, and you think after a while you're invincible. You can drive in anything. No, you really can't.
But it's the vehicles that, you know, fly by you that you're thinking, really? First off, they're driving way too fast for conditions. Actually, a couple weeks ago, I had to call a vehicle in. It had just rolled over north of is it 282 in Gaylord, that exit?
Yep, 282, right.
I was headed north in a ditch on I-75, heading over the bridge to God's country, the great state of Superior, otherwise known as the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, because we are 2 peninsulas, folks.
Yes.
And we literally, probably 30 seconds before we got there, a vehicle had rolled over. It was pretty bad, so I called 911 immediately, and I couldn't stop or pull over because we had just gone by it, and I caught it at the last minute. And if I had pulled over, I could have, based on the conditions, put more people at risk. So I figured I would just, you know, call and let somebody know what had happened.
Sure, but yeah, the people need to sleep. You need to slow down in this kind of weather, man. It's just, come on.
There's
Common
a lot
sense,
of people that
common
listen to the
sense.
show. Listen, we have a lot of people that listen to the show in Cali, on Florida,
Okay.
in other countries.
They don't
where
have to deal with any of this.
Well, I mean, in
least that's it.
California, you could, you know, be at the beach and go to the mountains, but
It's true.
there are
True.
a lot of states that listen to this podcast version, and there's a lot of people who have lived in snow, moved out of snow. There's a lot of people who have never driven in snow.
It's true.
It's not fun. I'm just telling you. I'd rather just be on dry cement.
I know. I hate, you know what? And when it comes right down to it, even in Michigan, there's probably less than 10 days a year where the roads are really, really bad with snow and stuff, and they don't get a chance to clean them. Even after a big storm, a day or two later, the roads are pretty clear and you can go pretty much where you need to go. But, man, yeah. Ugh.
But those men and women who work the road crews, the
dude,
salters.
You can't thank them enough. Can't thank them enough.
Not to mention law enforcement who have to drive around in that all day, and the
Deal
fire
with it.
departments, EMS, first responders. So,
And,
but,
the
Craig,
people who do delivery for stuff in that kind of weather, do you know, the DoorDashes, the Ubers, all those people who deliver stuff and do rides and things and that kind of stuff, because it's thankless jobs. There's no way around it. No way around
for
it.
sure. One of the things that have come out of this pandemic is delivery services.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Amazon. I mean, it's incredible how often you go to a restaurant and you see young people of all ages who are delivery drivers.
Yep.
Delivering food. I mean, I was a Domino's driver, big plug for Domino's there for years. And I delivered pizzas and subs and sodas, 30 minutes or less. And that's a job I would do. I enjoyed it. You could always listen to the music. You're always moving around, meeting nice people, getting some tips.
I did that for a while too. Yep, I did that. I did it for a place called Pharaoh's Pizza in Holland when I was about 19 or 20.
Nice shout out. Is that a plug?
That was a little plug. They're still in business. They've been around for a long time. Pharaoh's Pizza in Holland. So,
hey, by the way, big shout out to my cousin AZ, G Money, and JJ M66 group. Great group of men out there. Great guys. Big shout out to AZ, Jack, Anthony, the whole family. Much love from cousin Uncle Todd.
After that shout out, we got to take a break on the Todd 11 Law Show, but we'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Todd L11 and Craig Russell Rock and Roll Hour, playing Faster Pussycat here on the show of all shows with the strain of the week that goes out to Trey Ayers, who's coming on the show next week.
Is that we're
Alien OG.
Are we changing the name to that, to the Todd and Craig Rock and Roll Show?
Sure, why not? I mean, I think our 25 listeners wouldn't mind.
I'm sure they wouldn't. So, hey, I've got a question. You ready to make a prediction? Big prediction?
Okay, go ahead.
Who's going to win the Pro Bowl today?
Again with the sports, Craig. We're a law show. We hardly talked about
I know, but you know what? No, I'll tell you this much. I'm kidding around about the Pro Bowl.
Why don't you ask me how my law was last week? What happened in court? This, that, and the other thing.
We'll get to that in a second.
Nobody cares, but I mean, you should care. You're my friend.
Even if
you don't care, you should at least ask.
And I do care, but here's one.
You don't. You didn't even ask. Craig, I had to bring it up to you. You know what? We've been friends long enough. I should not have to bait you into asking me, about how my week went in court. You should just know, because you're a sensitive guy. Todd, how was your weekend? Did I not ask you how your week in radio went, Craig? Hey, Craig,
no,
by the way,
you didn't.
Craig,
didn't.
How was your week in radio? I'm asking right now.
You're doing it now.
Come on, Craig.
It was long. How about that? No, I do, but I do have one thing to tell you sports-wise, though. Aren't you happy Jim Harbaugh's staying at Michigan, that he's not going to the Vikings?
I'm a Michigan fan. Don't get me started on that. On National Signing Day, Harbaugh's in Minnesota interviewing for a job. I mean, what you have the right to do.
But he didn't take it.
It's not the point. Craig,
he didn't take it.
How was your week in radio?
My week in radio was long. How was your week in court, Todd?
Well, gee, Craig, thanks for asking. I was up in Roscommon. So big shout out to all the men and women who work. And by the way, I want to congratulate Judge Noble from Roscommon County and Ogama County. Judge Noble served the two counties on the bench, I believe, for about 27 years.
Wow.
Just an honorable, amazing judge, very fair. You knew where you stood. did the job he was elected to do, represented the interests of the men and women in those counties at the highest level, treated us attorneys with the utmost respect, and defendants and other individuals who appeared before him. Just an amazing man, a lawyer, a judge, and he's retired. He's going to be filling in as a visiting judge. But, boy, I always enjoyed appearing before Judge Noble, and I wish Judge Noble all the best in his retirement. Just a great judge, great man. Just terrific. No, I mean terrific.
No, I know.
Terrific.
Oh, I know. So that's awesome.
I've got a good buddy of mine, Judge Volbach, who works out of Standish, and another big shout out to Big Daddy Danny Bay and Judge Hattie are coming on the show.
Sure.
But
Yep.
Judge Volbach and I went to law school together. I consider him a good friend when we spent 3 years together every day in class, and he's done a great job on the bench over there in Standish and those counties. So if anybody knows Judge Volbach, send Judge Richard Volbach, my love.
and on that happy note, now how else was your week in court? What else?
You don't care. Come on, Craig.
Well, you don't care how my week in radio was.
You know what? Big kudos to Crawford County Prosecutor's Office. I can't talk specifically why I'm saying that, but big shout out to everybody at the Crawford County District Court up there in Grayling. Judge does a great job up there. Prosecutor, very fair, very reasonable. Now, there's a lot of individuals out there who will disagree with me based on their experience, but as far as this defense attorney's experience, I really enjoy working up in Crawford County. Clear County, Isabella, Midland, Big Rapids, Ithaca. Those are my main courts, especially the state of Michigan. I'm always fighting a good fight.
989-772-6000. If you need help, Todd's the man.
Craig, I have to go home and finish binge watching my favorite show, which is Yellowstone. So,
that's right. That's right. I was going to ask you what you were.
Look at my jeans. I'm wearing Levi's and a pair of steel-toe boots right now. I don't own a cowboy hat. I have
probably a good idea.
North Face hat on right now, but we're working on the cowboy hat.
I got you.
You ever watch Yellowstone?
I have not watched it. No, I haven't.
Well, you better start. It's a great show.
All right. Well, Todd, I hate to break the news to you. The show's over. We got to go.
Craig, we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. I'm not just a litigator. I'm an advocator. Remember that one?
Classic.
Take us out with some Faster Pussycat.
The Todd L. Levitt Law Show, brought to you by Chad Malley Well Drilling of Rosebush. Clark Modular Homes, your most experienced and trusted builder in Mount Pleasant. Clear Vision Windows, Siding, and Roofing, now booking in Central and Northern Michigan. And attorney Todd L. Levitt, not just a litigator, he's an advocator.
Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.